it's crazy. So a big deal. So now, because there's pressure home, inflation is just ballooning, it's just skyrocketing, and we are just struggling. People are struggling to pay or more, like just to take care of themselves, because the pay itself is not being increased. It's going to affect you somehow. Now you're going to pressure. People are going to give you pressure to bring money home, because their pay is stagnant, and inflation also now. Let's welcome Ivan. Ivan, you're welcome. Very introduction.
I think that when the introduction being media. Yes, and I think that we are all in the same struggle together. Maybe Ghana Druses here, I believe it is about time our youth to get involved in the national conversation, because over the years, year say a pressure for more money, and we submitted your future more hoping say and future no more be see but we politics now also and I think the individual interest overshadow the collective interest of the majority of the people, and the poverty, disease, and then near sabi baby a man for try to push behind them. No, we are still battling unemployment rate in Africa, especially among the youth. No, I wouldn't say it's quite rife, and Mama Wabuchre wouldn't say Wobuseni or Ghana ha on daily basis be a say at Uswa near Sandy Miska clearly a trust her near my coastal grounds, and yet because there be a mecase so will be a word Jumaya Nasasabi Kakrakran and Sabakan is Sakra, they will know how to manage it, and Nipano Benya certain hope, say maybe in the future and near Mabakoye, and I in Waman on Inswa, a Moaman for close to year Jumain Senka. More a short so much Kuman or Munya Juma, no working condition, a kama, me a short and Cadona, so better if ye adding him more abwa. But mine I had to know about Santino Bianam the baby, and I know video beer, some African youth, except Balua Yahoo or Libya, and a motis or Moko Europe. So when you both video, no so I'm sure will be soon. Say Nipa life and I risking all because of economic incentives among for a pet acquiring a 2 quire quabuchre. I call making life better out there. Do na along the way, lose our lives, or we cry and it's so scary. I'm planning for they are privy to all these things, but I may free say it is about time I hear you to know so no. You bet me at Sijana and Yakase leadership and governance and your preserve for the aged. Number year as a youth to know, so we have a role to play. Say Yahunisa, I think say Yamabako Yama.
So is that the reason why you got into politics, to see like you've become a communicator and a big one as such? Because I think mostly on Unia and most of the radio stations you're always present and talk. But last time I know, because I know so background in nursing. So like, what is it? Just that what 2 hour TT news now? You know what? I just have to get involved.
But I think you see governance and leadership sometimes at the so help maybe a more sometimes passion and then way a drive on kakra. You need to have certain compassion. At the hospital, you come into contact with people in their lowest form. Among four, they have barely 5 minutes to die. People who have maybe a day to die. People who are so devastated, say they don't know. So when you get exposed to such situation, you begin to understand life better. Obit me better hospital. Seek out better a better problem, and it's whole lot. And when you have such an experience, now you become very passionate about problems. I will free say, Nema be say anything drew her. Nema be say ya dear Sika ya available, a bit me resolve Emma or Ba or Bewo and Koda hospital Sabi. Oboko kunyam Okonam so kunyani or Babawo na obit me by that hospital, a drew cried by Mano, a man de Atiapono, a bear major problem. or be the hospital oxygen scene. So I would just see so the personal experience. I was at the ward some time ago when the patient came, oxygen is seen so. Unfortunately, now oxygen now cut your fence saying cylinder back on and the scene so. Nipano on his own, no, and you be to me home. Oxygen in the hospital will be in the hot. And we will make an arrangement for a bit to come from other facility. I bet take it long. So what it means is the very moment that oxygen in the basano, Nipano life and they were so all these experiences are my far true. No, things are shaping me to understand. Say no, baby, I do know we really need to add our voice to the conversation. Say by you able to change it than political narrative in tower. A few individuals be all in the name of partisan politics and they are capitalizing on that. And I'm some majority of the youth, you're ignorant, With the party, a man 50 Ghana, a man 100 Ghana, Obikra, I know he say about a year to a more cap, the Mobi. The voting power, no was surrounded their Mobi or their quality t-shirt, Obi the more cap. I just said, name the our form and they say try to activate the political conversation. I think say a bema man for be conscious and politically active or become socially conscious on betting me who why they should give their vote to somebody and why not to. It is not about some many power free club console I'm gonna for asante for anyway. It is about competence and assembly nippon kind what me when to me what is the consequences. We said the parameters I think a bit me boy my name akoye.
Now, do you think that activism, no, like when more the youth join and make all the noise inside, does it actually make the dial move? Like, do you see movement in the direction of change?
Oh, sure, I do, because I believe those of you who have been following or watching the political landscape for quite a long time. Let me take you back to 2010 up to maybe you have about 13 years in here. You admit that politics in 2010 is different from politics today, especially Absolutely. With the advent of the new media. So social media platforming, because of your friend is saying social media, the new media, and videos. I'm able to have access to them. I listen to you. I watch some of your programs. The same way the minority here, some of the youth in Ghana are watching. Some in the diaspora are also watching. So the new media not upbringing need to with certain form of enlightenment. I think whether you like it or not, it will have an impact because a significant number of the youth in Ghana are really becoming politically conscious. More in conversation. I say change be anywhere sudden, about gradual, and once it's seeping in, what we are trying to do is we are waging some kind of a mental revolution. A mental revolution. I bet you at the mind of the ordinary Ghanaian. The political ties will no longer be emotions. It will no longer be your friend said tribal. It will no longer be about affinity or it will be it will be issue based. Meanwhile, about money at the end or whatever. Last 4 years, yet no promises or the buyer, Nippon buy and any so these are some of the things that you soon assess it as to whether somebody is doing well or not. So I think that the political narrative we continue to shape in it because baby I number there is so admit politics in 2010 is different from politics today. Clearly, I chose the advent of the new media and is really having an impact. And then one thing is a politician Asama, you have the opportunity to verify. Because the issues will be trending all over. And then with a click of the button, you can go to your friends saying the internet and find the other side. You'll be able to question some of the Nipano Kano. And this is a first now. Or Krasana Yabaya campaign and Nipano bar. Maybe I wouldn't access to radio, wouldn't access to TV. Until some of the Kano, you swallow the hook, line, and sinker. But then so I think the political narrative is changing. And once it's changing, a bigger impact in the overall political landscape now in the dream these people who have held this country hostage or in the name of partisan politics, a time will come they all lose their relevance and men of your friends saying nipa omo nim die and never be your mind way. So I might yet me drive the kind of change that we seek because when it started elsewhere, France and other places, it all started like this. People never thought any change will come. And maybe I'm using French as a France as a typical example. When they had this first estate, the second estate, and the third estate, people never thought time will come. France bet me I witness democracy ama sabi masses will have power to decide who lead them then as a forum. So I started here and France have a great power in the world affairs. I think the time will come. Where I starting the day, sabi yakwana young impact. I think that the generation to come will definitely come and feel the impact of the year.
Okay. That makes sense. I think you're right on that point. I can actually see the dial move bit by bit because the government bit much but with some pressure from the new media and people, these new young politicians, you see them the dial moving a little bit. Okay. We're today in another percent here discussing IMF deal quickly, but before then, I just had said there's something happened at GNPC. My name is Sawatia. If you want, yes, it's Omakoton, some shares. I don't know if you've heard about that. Between the minister, what?
Yes, I think the GNPC name. With this, your friends and oil company, care issues, about a whole lot of discussions across the Chrome. But the obeti highlight issues of corruption, and later who Kevin Taylor will be other bias. Some media men were employed in their PR campaign to sway the conversation. Sabi Niama Ekosono Emma Bonting, but there be a not dwelling on that particular issue alone. I think that highlight how corruption is pervasive in our political enterprise. There be a business. Sika Ghana ye lose to corruption. Kwanya amanfo eba abaimu na suddenly they become rich overnight and they are not able to explain sources of their wealth and that's for nyina because of these shady deals going on. Emma sika esenka ekọ ayaresabia sika ekọ suku sika the mind benya access to near their improve infrastructure and access to healthcare and that's for nyina esi anokwan enti say I see it me institute better system it me check corruption in our country. Many years as an name win in KBC, but scandal no bar. It's just like a flash in the pan. The media will just mention it. Nobody is doing the follow up. Now cops and mine also is never interested because actors of these activities are people who are brought on board by the same government. They feel they own themselves some responsibility about kukudi bonia. I say boa na itwani free. So corruption up here the order of the day. So the Auditor General report about bonting. Now we go through in the last 4 to 5 years. Hesika era. Then you go back to about Kufuor time, from Mahama time, from Mills time, na Besi and na Kufuor notice. You know, Besi I will say. Auditor General report. We always wait for people to do all the nasty stuff, and then at the end of the year we compile and then we make it public. And that has been the practice. And at some point in time, now you review as to how occurrence of those crimes, at the grounds. I've never had any intervention from anybody. I always be no problem. Why we are even supposed to apply sanctions and ensure we retrieve those monies. So it's one of the many corrupt examples. I always system clearly I trust a man for has just taken advantage of the fact that the state itself is corrupt. Leaders in charge are not serious. They are in for money, and for that matter, anybody at all can just capitalize on this whole thing and they make money, and that is it. So, many surprise.
Okay. So let's go straight on to the IMF deal. 2006. Yeah, the Kenya about 75% of your catcher.
Yeah.
So Ghana became within 3 years from that, we became one of the biggest and the fastest growing economies in the world.
Yeah.
From that time, all up to here, what happened? As I say, I'm gonna say we need about 75% of the revenue generated by government just to service our debt. You see a pain off crowd just to service it. How did we get here?
Yeah, I think that gross irresponsibility and mismanagement. Another factor, Ghana, I think that you're polarizing your political atmosphere now to the extent that we are unable to differentiate from what is right. Ansa na Ghana obi bekasa ade we a ekoso eya na say enye no na it depend where the person stands maybe across the political divide. Unlike other places where you can have an objective opinion about where even you baby ujina kra no, you may belong to a party but you have an objective stand. That stand may go against the decision taken by your party. But in our situation is totally different. Yes, some party and yes, some individuals. We are not serving the state. So this sense of nationalism, patriotism, elsewhere you see someone foot me wage war on authorities to ensure that they will be responsible and they will be accountable. No, I'm not sure that's it yet. So, sir, I don't know. This one the factor of mine only focus because I buy no bar where you expect a bit me institute certain mechanism, a bit me a revenue stream. No, at me a coso say a juma when they see a nice so my bar. As a government, ma take industrialization as a driver, maybe generate growth. Ma fa agree as one of the ways I maybe generate growth. Then you build your friends the system in such a way so we may realize those things. But over the years, you don't see such things. Either say you rely on your friends in taxes, I budget from port and other places, and those things, when you first one assign Kutia Ghana for now, especially those of you in the diaspora. And now talk now they bagana see here sika but oton or the other bit to your port odi be eso chance sika wo de toho so ni nyina na ekotia yankasa ye timam for no but where we need to invest and ensure say ye betimi go into large scale production there be see and so whether it is agriculture ye link it to factory and we know say whatever our farm produce are coming from directly it's going to the factory. And the factory will come and serve our needs. That one is there. And then maybe there are several other avenues. I'll go through. I invested the last time I made about poultry production in a large scale. Say, and no idea see this one. Then we say in the next 10 years, where will we be in the next 10 years? And no see how. And there are several of those lines. Say railway, the financing system now, person build there. You have a vision about it in the next 10 years. How many people need to do more? Traffic situation a bit easy, especially in Accra and ACT. So when you have those lines now, at the end of the day, with me prioritize it or government the opposite way along that particular line, and say definitely you achieve something. But you have no about short-sightedness. Nipa no ba. They are raising money. They are campaign. Na ya who ye near their core. So vision has always been limited in terms of time. And need long-term way be a basa. The only option ubenya or resort to sawo bobosia. Because state is unable to generate enough money for you to finance whatever that you want to do. So you resort to borrowing. So sa borrowing and I didn't know to a ma or maya or cast or more wipe your debt. Your friends saying, we ma yana yaneka. And never understand, and then we are hovering around over 600 billion Ghana cedis. And when you go back, now we say about how we got here. We crab show and so we bet me and near man certain progress be somewhere. Now what me I can say, oh, you cannot do 600 billion there, but near my back one ambie no yet me yeah and I say dear we are very hopeful say it will pay for itself. There is absolutely nothing. And the one you go out there, I don't know buy a and so we have certain renewed energy be another bubble, especially when Kenoforata became the finance minister then. Orban so we Ghana your debt winner. It was around 122 billion. A ban saying and I can it me pay more do 600 billion within a short period. That is the question that we should be asking. We were frequenting your call Eurobond market within a short period of 4 years. Yet me go raise bond. Now man for to go so now use as a politics now So within a short period of about 4 years, me raise over by $11 billion. Those of you outside, when you say $11 billion, you appreciate amount of money.
That's it. Whole lot of money. Yeah.
Yes.
$11 billion within Kenufuriata's time as finance minister.
Yes. In Eurobond,
Eurobond.
Yes, because the year 2018, according to those one now buy a raise whole scandal now on or no ankasa ni company sign a jehon when it's a cat, you know. Then the following year, that is 2019, he went for 3 billion. 2020, he went for 3 billion. 2021, he went for 3 billion. 2022, now we'll make an attempt all the rating agencies, you know, are rating Ghana down. We never had a dime. Is the reason why Ghana's economy and a chokia because that year they never got anything.
So to say we need $3 billion.
Yes.
To revive the economy.
Yes.
But Ocha said we've borrowed 11 billion that.
Yes,
and that
we
did not do anything to the economy. So how would the 3 billion revive us?
That is the question. That is the question over the years we've been asking. Say, me, I can't say the IMF when I the hope no, and now your redemptive card no. That thing is never going to redeem us because unlike so what 3 billion and the money I buy in bulk and you can align and apply to your priority areas, you know. This IMF cash in a have no, it is not money. I did better with some 3 billion. I think that so far, last time I share timelines are routed the bad one thing. Now we were supposed to last 2 weeks Friday. Now we were supposed to have about $300 million, and then the following Monday, you know, now we are supposed to have another 300 million. So say Adibia go through. We are supposed to have $600 million as at now, and then November, December, IMF will carry out a semi-annual review because they have certain indicators that you need to pass. So which may pass it through that particular header now. Ghana will receive another $600 million. And the whole of this year, if we are lucky and we are able to pass Sika and Sabaka, $1.2 billion for the whole of this year, as compared to what happened in 2020 during the COVID-19 time. COVID-19, Madika Culture said the year to 2020, the Eurobond, Eco Floaty bond, $3 billion. The same year, no, and another COVID bar. Now we had access to a credit facility. Your friend is saying IMF. I'm on my 1 billion. I'm my young so you could bob bossing another 1 billion.
Making 5 billion.
That year, no, you can mention the amount of money in Sakaya.
$5 billion.
Exactly.
Within that year, no. Exactly. And so why are we excited? Say this 3 billion. I think. Why are we excited to say this 3 billion will do something? If 5 billion in 2020 and now young baby.
Yes.
Everybody was home, productivity was at a stop. So we did not even need enough money for anything.
No.
And then we mismanaged 5 billion. As I say, 3 billion or whatever my in trenches. How many years 3 billion of my
3 million is supposed to have it in 3 years.
In 3 years.
All things being equal, yes, because
it's an average of 1 billion a year.
Yes, so that is how funny it is. And to add up to news, where COVID-19 time you are making, I Ghana for agitate, yes, COVID-19 fund, no quite fast, so I use you know. Quite fast, you use you. The Auditor General came up with a report. Me a sure pass a report to be. It's make a voter region at that club. Also, I call high 15 million. And I said this. At that club, voter region, mean call me name that club, but me name a see how you listen to you. I call listen over 15 million. Ghana said this. And then we used extra 20 million to do renovation. The most interesting aspect, and they say, yes, I had anywhere, no, we never used the building. And Auditor General we never use the building.
So what is the media doing? Has the building been located? What's the media doing about it? I think this is where the media comes in. So we have to find that building and then show it to us. Say, okay, this is a 3-story building or 5-story building in the middle of Adaklu. You're renovating, renting and renovating cost 35 million. Jesus.
Yes. Anyway. But you know the most interesting thing? The chief prosecutor, somebody that is armed with prosecutorial powers by the state to ensure, people who dupe this country and now engaging in corrupt practices, will be held responsible. The Attorney General and the beef, and about the wastage. His beef wasn't about the money. his beef was with the fact that Auditor General no a report we were publishing on a website at Ghana for share. So he was expecting say that report, I think you conceal the report. So when you have such a person, yes, and the news is over, you can check the portals. He was fighting the Auditor General say, only who can say audit that filthy report, at thing when the money belongs to Ghanaians and we are entitled to be privy to whatever the content is. So such a person, clearly said he would never go after those people. In the way media can now researchers are saying they will not. They will kill the story just like that.
That's terrible.
So this IMF deal, it has never been a solution. The be and even though we Saka deal what happened in Zambia, example. Zambia chased the IMF for quite a long time. So September 2022, last year, that was when they finally secured the deal. Omunya deal suddenly because Obage IMF dealer, investor confidence and those things are coming on board. But subsequent to that, they were supposed to have a discussion with their bilateral and their multilateral creditors. Because a niche proud to say IMF deal no sabakan assurance keke and a few just like Ghana's situation. Because Ghana's a standard debt portfolio now. Summary, I think it's around 30 billion. Yes, 30 billion. No, yeah, the China cut 1.7 billion. Paris Club, the Omoka 1.9 billion. And now Eurobond market, yeah, the cut 13.2 billion. And now I think multilaterals, yeah, can over 2.1 billion. And other creditors here 2.1. Do can in album you get somewhere around 30. Which means that the largest component the Eurobond, which is 13.2. The second one, your friend is saying the multilaterals na do mokano. Then so other ones na China China appears to be our largest your friend saying bilateral creditor 1.7 omo. And the Paris Club, almost the Omoka 1.9, and joining together to form a credit committee, and they give us an assurance and support to the IMF. Say, I cannot omote Ghana no, and as a Ghana do omono, they are ready for us to cut a deal, and they will come out with a flexible payment terms. IMF deal na koye. So it is on that basis, and IMF did deal no Ghana. But what we should not forget is say. The largest component of the debt in the Yankan Wasem the Eurobond.
Eurobond, 13 billion.
And the multilateral way, no Yankan Wasem, and other commercial entities, Yankan Wasem.
So that means our payments is going to remain the same.
No, it depends. So now we have time to engage them. So this is the situation because IMF Sikana Yamount Fanko settled debt, and it's out. So now deal, it is up to us to engage them. And on the other side, Ghana is also trying to be on the common framework initiative. IMF they buy during the COVID. Terms of payment in terms of debt flexible. No, it may go through. Those people will be negotiating on our behalf. And so we have a duty. Even China and the Paris Club no we still need to engage them to know how. Almost we should get a deal there, but how is it going to be? And winning China, meaning China, when it comes to Musika Sama, China have this hostile foreign policy, aggressive, or more than we say, Ujini Sikana when you're careful. We lose a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, it was Uganda, not Kenya. They just seized their airports and seized
They started with Sri Lanka. Proud to the fall of Sri Lanka, now you're discussing, in the midst of their economic crisis, and they defaulted on their debt. Port and more pretty Zambia can once and see the state broadcasting corporation GTV. It is enlisted on a Star Times. You know, so Star Times a pay-per-view. So a national TV then your friends in Star Times. And the most interesting thing about China, those communist countries, you hear say the company is a private company, but that is a lie. Always and always, it belongs to the state. Just like Russia, asking somebody out there to go and buy a team. Sikane ye Oman Sika. It's not for the individual. Because Russia buy England, so but Chelsea, they will not allow him to buy. But the Sikanama Abramovich is as an individual, UK will allow him. So that is how they operate. So most of the Chinese companies, who are coming in as private, most of them are state-owned companies. The private way you are dealing with the state. So yes, so the consequences we have a lot of responsibility. IMF deal na no. Yes, at this point, be a bit dependent on the current circumstances, but on our own, and she shall be ni Ghana no temporary the core problem, but there is light at the end of the tunnel because the Niama Bakwana that is what we are not getting from government. Nobody is coming out with any initiative. It is all about the IMF deal. But Zambia got the IMF deal, subsequent to the debt negotiation afterwards, For instance, I said on the China air agreement. China, hide and seek. It do subsequent trenches as a kind of babano. The money had to delay. And then, a more economy, I fall into the ditch again, even though IMF deal. So the IMF deal is never a panacea. And as I hope so, who was a Ghana, you call her 17 times. And they say, I think I am saying, but yeah, and Casabit me, I am my own. Now, yet the economy, na see how I bet me grow. I'm a catcher, see me taking certain local initiative. Youth now, Yawo Chrome Hano, people are willing to work. Of course, circle and a panel here, Numa, man for a year. People are coming out of the university, So, I agree, how do we incentivize them? I'm for more national service, I wanted the officer who are there more, government can incentivize, provide a needed way for them to go into a large scale rice farming and as a former a bit me by a man support to you. Because I know my examples as I have Vietnam in Astoria is encouraging because I hear war, go that protracted war, go to the economy was almost in the gutters. But
there was no economy in the 60s and the 70s. Yeah.
Yes, but today they are emerging as one of the global powers. Among for a forecast to say in a few years to come, they will be counted among the global economic players because one make a backbone with a significant investment arise. 2020, Ghana, Africa, Bokai, a term over $200 million. A call. That country, Vietnam, a more about Kruma. You 5 million call. Your friends at Thailand, a more, a Kotobi free China at about Kruma. When we have lands, we have the human resource, the manpower to do that. But yet, because people who are more cardabano say, yes, as you go into that particular time, they will lose their trade. So, you go into poultry, abaya one of the way, and Ghana. Poultry consumption in town, I so huge the stand say Obisa say, and then they see a coin, say government, intimate support up factories for a first poultry feeding and as a for bit me a man for because or more what bed and the door now cry a cruise down because of feeds in as a for the So these are avenues factory and I could for the can once I mean. My culture says just look at our daily consumption. Nema bi or how we are dying the be a gun or PRDB. Clear example, at tomato, chroma wine and nibi. And you know, so be a side or Techima and Kwanzan and as for that is what they do. So, how do we support them and build a factory so that whatever be on produce go straight to the factory and then we serve ourselves? Say, big car, if it's a carbon thing, a bassa, Ghana, Sikana, yes, sad carbon thing. That foreign exchange now.
Ericofala Bianca.
Yeah, Ericofala Bianca. You see, these are powerful people who are within the government and they are making money. And they will never allow you to implement such interventions because make them yes, I don't know more. So your problem not there, people are just not willing, but the solutions lie there right in front of us. We only need somebody who is really willing to confront these things. But IMF is dictating to us. Your friends say all the flagship programs are gone and buy free. and Sikano Modebano, Nyadia betim their cofa, would employ new crop of workers. Now you pay them never, that is out. So government cannot come out with any employment way or the scheme be but to employ the youth.
But I know they're like government trying to employ people. No, I've always sided with IMF on that. Anytime I require IMF, the government should put a stop about employing public workers, and yet like employing civil service.
Yeah,
I've always been. I think it's a good thing because could be our government and then the biggest employer now is a problem.
Yes,
because government is one of the most unproductive
yes
institutions.
No, it's true. It's true because friends, state-owned enterprises last year, I'm not sure any of them making profit. All of them losses, no.
Including ECG.
Yes, all of them are. They are debt factory. Or cocoa board. They see a car factory.
Cocoa board is a disgrace. I think about this 4 or 5 years ago, and if I'm mistaken, 10 years ago, they started making profit.
Yes.
And now when you listen to them and you hear what they are saying, they've gone back to where we were in the late 90s.
Yes. But they are working Okotisika, Yeditua CEO ka, CEO Netino or deputy CEO, deputy to the deputy, executive to the just a whole lot of nonsense. Yes. And we pay all of them. And we are not making anything. So the fact is, yes, my can't be as even in the US, the government cannot employ everybody. But it is your sole responsibility to lay a solid foundation for individuals and private enterprise to leverage for economic growth. So provided those incentives now, the private sector will be able to gel, and so they will be able to employ a lot of people. Currently, as we speak in Ghana, the private sector is almost collapsed. All of them are on their knees because even incentives, they are not there. And then your friend saying private enterprise. Now we pay sika. So they barber show jumama. And yada one sabaka sikano. Sika be any baby on sabakan because you are in a competition with the government, especially at the time. Government. Edi, your friend is saying, sika from this private enterprise because I had debt restructuring. Yeah. Sika a buying, I didn't sakako boom or that particular way, Clearly, we are private sector, Siana could not so sika, or new amount of sika no him. Absolutely nothing. And the government, and they say, we've been blocked out of the credit space at the global stage because in Ghana, I just say be an IMF deal buying some countries might want to listen to us. I think that we are in discussion with the World Bank, say $900 million to finance your friend saying last year budget and aside that, and I'm not sure we have that credit worthiness to go out there and borrow. So the competition will be on the local higher and with here. The fact that
the government versus small businesses.
Exactly. And everybody might want to lend to government. Yes. And those local banks at least assist among former daily businesses because government has deliberately taken all of them out. Banks you're crashing in your because these banks used to give economic certain packages, incentive to amount for more business at the more those things need to miss fall economic activities. A good amount for more coin them the chimay, your friends saying Tamalene as for more market to moody ammonia loans, soft loans be from these areas. But the government, because government are crashing these banks, Indian bank,
through banking sector restructuring.
Exactly. Their access to credit has been revoked. So these people are rendered more useless. They can no longer be active within the economic space. But Makase, Senka reasonable. Nasa Abanye who say, Papa Kwasi Indian bank now operating, while who say certain activities be because illegal. they are mismanaging the bank, you have every right to go after those individuals because Obi Open Bank, that's a Ghana for the Musika Kogu ha. Even though it is a private bank belonging to an individual, but the state has a stake in it. Quite recently in America, I think the First Republic Bank a crash here. Bank in Ugu, they made sure that somebody will take the bank, and JP Morgan just took the bank.
Oh yeah.
I had this shame. Say, I'm for Mudu Musika shame in America for Moya Juma or Honor or Mojuma Momo. Everywhere that is the standard practice. You can go into your friends say you can emergence and acquisition, you can change ownership and come out with your friends say regulatory mechanism, maybe to me bank in Ejina. And then you isolate the individuals and we are responsible for those decisions, then you deal with them, you make them answer for their crimes. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Everything is politics. So they decided to destroy those banks, there are man for more investment, and out of that, in my culture, a lot of people have been taking more access to credit. And the economy now you expecting these smaller activities, but when grow, those things have been taken away. So there is no growth. The economy is not IMF, we cannot have access to credit, and that is our problem.
And I look at it right from the onset, we started just shooting ourselves in the foot, right from the onset, because with the banking sector now, which will kind of be the engine of your economy, if you decide, say, you're just going to collapse all of it. And I don't know if I heard this right, so we needed just about 9 million to just revamp the whole banking sector. And then we spent about 20 billion just collapsing all of them. But still, people are comfortable.
Yes. And then the church said, we see, my culture said, baby, na say leaders are more for you to delve into such a dangerous arena, at least you will pause, do certain analysis. You wage your friends saying the pros and the cons. Now what share? Now what make a decision? But because the decision was more or less a political decision, they failed to analyze the situation and the context. And the bank I see here 9 billion to capitalize it, anye ye kra no enka umeki amamam for emma enya access to those things. There were a lot of people who could have brought in a lot of money to make this bank offense solvent. Now issues now and now say you can even force the owners to sell. There are a lot of things we could have done because Republican Bank buy that is what they did. You're putting up for a sale. And then those are more credit worthy, like JP Morgan Chase will go in, they will acquire, they will negotiate with the owners, acquire, infuse new capital into it, and then they change the whole setup. So that the status quo will not change in terms of operations of the bank. In leadership in Kwana Besisa. But way, the bank will hear 9 billion, now with over 21 to over 25 billion. Now, what the Baba banking sector clean up, knowing very well, that thing now, you are taking a lot of people out of job because I'm told, Nipo Muluzu or Mojuma, well, around 51,000 people. So, through the banking sector cleanup, we ended up rendering over 51,000 people unemployed. Besin there, a man for Sika come. And a banking sector now can be seen there and sending a nice to be because as we speak,
hasn't revived. And most of the banks on Muguni also were like local banks, like Ghanaian owned banks.
Yes. And to know Mufis or Moyobi, that Ghanaian owned bank, and they were lending to your friend saying the local people. I'm business at the local level, It's a business, that economic
mom and pop economy, like
sadly, they have a significant impact. Rough, but
if in America they employ more people than the big conglomerates.
Yes, so these people now who are what taking omunina off because their first ultimate can near might be called a gem cotton. That person, the access to credit has been revoked. They cannot do anything. The growth you expect, say economy to me achieve at the end of the year, you will not get it. And the enterprises that have been left to operate are all foreign-based companies. And these individuals, you know what they do? They are involved in capital repatriation or away. So when you use your GDP as a basis to assess whether your economy is doing well or not, yes, GDP production within a year. You have all the big companies they don't have competitors in this country. For instance, MTN, any competitor. Vodafone, for instance, any competitor, and all the giants in our technological space are foreign companies. And then other areas is the same thing. Are foreign companies. So they have no competitors in this country. They make a lot of money, and then at the end of the day, all the profits in away. Leaving zero impact on your economy. Zero impact.
And that's what is strangling our currency, because
yes,
all the foreign currency at the end of the day, all the Sikombe making Okruma, at the end of the day, they have to turn it back into dollars and send it over.
Exactly. Now what they call your natural resources are your gold, bauxite, not diamond, even these Chinese and other people, they smuggle them out of this country. They smuggle. So
in planes, in little planes, and the Matia.
Yes.
I dabbled in the mining industry, and they are not so they just pack it in little private jets and just fly it out.
That you can't even have record of them. So that is the situation. So access to credit, access to money, I buy economy your channel either it is going into an individual pocket and now going to a foreign interest to be a Ghana and leaving the country dry. So amidst of all the resources we claim we have, Ghana your bauxite, you will say, but the human mind, the human potential, the intelligence that we need to translate these things, I bet me economic value on the lives of the people, because of greed, we can't even see it. And consistently, economy dragging because Ghana will be a start free, and where we are going, I am not sure some kind of time will come, especially in this 21st century. Sabi, we are saying we are going to default, and the justification always the president take a stage and other cultures say Ukraine, Russia war.
That's just nonsense.
That is absolute nonsense.
That is nonsense. Nonsense. I think this is the first time we've defaulted in the Fourth Republic.
Oh yes, because the last time S&P and Moody's rated now one of our coupons a deal we couldn't pay, and locally I can tell you on authority said a lot of people are more a tall bond Chroma time now. So even those who bought it in January up to now or Musika. Recently I went to the bank. I met a software Toby, or he's one of those who can be Toma. Oh yeah, and I've been saying, "Oh, they're and I say I would money. I buy a for Sikano." Yes,
and I think I think I heard yesterday that there's been the finance ministry. I catch all the banks in Ghana say, like all the profits they've made this year, they cannot give out dividends to their shareholders.
Yes,
so they have to keep the dividends because some of the moment they don't know what's going to happen in the next few months.
Yes, because Sikani system and we see the Ayama say, but agencies here, we are looking at the way out, yes, which is positive. But while we got here, must be investigated. And
that is the most because we've been here 17 times. So something must tell us it's not about our skill of just wiggling ourselves out of it. It's why we keep on coming here.
Exactly.
That is the biggest problem right now.
Yes.
We have to talk about how we got here and why. How can we stop it? Like better than you.
Yes, and you see, the very people who are supposed to help us lead this conversation, the so-called journalists, but me by 20 years, 30 years for no. Yes, the gurus of the tradition, the gurus of the traditional media, the gurus of the old media, they are not interested in this conversation. Because more or less they are part of the establishment. They are feeding beneath the corrupt table, so they don't care. So these are the narrative these guys are supposed to, your friend is saying, sustain, asking the critical questions as to why we are still stuck. Why did we get here? Because I remember very well when we started this whole advocacy, one of our major concerns was the fact that we were borrowing in a manner it makes sense. We were borrowing in a manner and making no sense. And it was risky that we needed to do something to stop the bleeding.
And ironically, I think the name of the how we're borrowing was called smart borrowing.
Yes, smart borrowing.
And it made no sense at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. And the guy kept borrowing and borrowing and borrowing to the extent that now, we are in the hole. And the only inclination this same guy has, and say we can still borrow our way out of a debt. That is what he's doing.
I think I just had Akufo-Addo on one of those interviews he was having. And say one of the benefits of the IMF deal. And say now we can go back into the market and borrow more. Do the same thing that brought us here.
That old man is crazy. The man is crazy. You see, he has no clue. All that they are interested in is to ensure that they have money they can reach at any point in time and use it. And trust me, we are going to an election. If we have access to credit over billions of dollars, they will make sure they waste everything before they leave. This is a man who has no remorse. Listen, when this whole narrative around this IMF conversation started, young try na young cut down the size of government, young control expenditure and those things. You saw what he did. He never paid.
Yeah, when he had the opportunity, I mean, some ministers actually resigned.
Yes.
He had the opportunity to just merge those ministries. He decided to appoint new ones. Yes,
he doesn't care. He doesn't care. That is what I'm saying. He's living in a certain utopian world that he has no clue as to what is happening. Even if he has, he doesn't care. So this is not somebody, an ordinary Ghanaian can rely on him and say, we have a leader who can help us to redeem ourselves. He's never interested in redemption. He's rather interested in having access to capital to finance his fancy lifestyle. That is all that he's interested in. So it's a Ghana best slip into a hellhole. He doesn't care, because one of the easiest intervention, which I think one of the ambassadors told us when the German ambassador came to town, and the president told him, say, and the China and Kasano. The man was point blank, and his answers clearly told us a answer, because he told you, say, on the mind Germany do not have such large size of government. And you know Germany and Ghana, you can't compare the two. Or her size of government in Germany, now her size of a government, now you're on your bended knees, doing your friends global trotting, begging for clemency, You have no right to be keeping such large size of government. But Akufo-Addo never listened to anybody. The same government is intact. These people are still operational. You saw the cars just moving up and down. Everybody wasting everything. So we don't look like a country. Sebi, we are on the cliff. We are living large like kings. And the leaders who are supposed to take responsibility are rather bequeathing responsibility. I'm told the question I know baby say economy no say Mahama say no say no So
at this point we're still talking about Bahama.
Yes. The guy is delusional. And it's so sad. So because of politics, you threw away responsibility. Like I said, the media who are supposed to help us to ask the relevant questions. Kendo Furata is still at post. Why is he still at post? Because this is the same guy who drove us into the ditch. Why is the media not asking? Why is the guy still there? Especially when the president made a certain commitment there. IMF deal no we are. Obe make sure Ken will go. IMF deal and Ken is still at post, and is the guy who is going to direct affairs. How these monies is going to be used? Can we trust him? These are questions that the media should.
So what happened to the politicians, those parliamentarians on the MPP side that were pushing for the finance minister to be fired?
Oh, I've not even heard their voices anymore. Everything is about money. And I keep telling people, say if you go into politics because you want money, you go and have it in excess, and then that will be the end. Drew, your friend said, or saturation pointer, nothing will interest you anymore. The woes of the people will not be your concern, because your main preoccupation for going to politics to make money. Now you have it in abundance. So that energy, that you exercise certain inertia, there are certain things you might not do. Obi Kasakura imagine say, "Oh, come there, no, that is it."
What did they say?
Yes. But politics is about advocacy. It is about talking and proposing alternatives and how whenever there is a problem, we can find our way around. So it's something, it's non-stop. But when you did now, we don't talk, and then that is it. So they just don't care. Parliament, my culture is a parliament, you can rely on them. Even where you expect them to act, even the minority, where you expect them to stand up to government, where the minority has power to ensure that we confront the government issue. Even we don't have the numbers, we will sensitize the people and win the people to our side to ensure that we all rise against the government to drop a particular decision. You don't see that energy. Oh, no. By the time I was a minority now, especially with the appointment of these ministers.
That was a big disappointment because in your hand parliament, everybody kind of thought a little hope came. Said, "Oh, the Ghanaian politician is now going to do something for us." They got up to 30 people descended from the minority side, and not 1 or 2, 30. That's a lot.
So that should give you a clue. That should give you a clue that the politics here is never about the people's welfare. It is never about the people. It is about us, the individual, at post. Make sure say we make ourselves better and go away. That's all. So people can make money. They go sit opposition, wait for next time to come and make another money. They're another group. So we are just exchanging the baton. Nobody cares about anybody. So that is the reason why we as a youth, we're very conscious about this. Now you make informed political choices instead of just throwing our vote out for individual based on emotions, partisan activism, and those things. And yes, sir, we will continue because WMA for saying independence. How many years in here? It's 60 and counting. We are still poor. We are still begging. Still unemployment is right. Here, security, a problem. We're still voting people who don't even deserve to be assemblymen in villages into parliament. So nothing has changed. So until say they make up effort, IMF can never change the political narrative in town.
It has never done it for any country in the world. Why do we think we are special?
Yeah, because to the IMF, we are one of its many customers. That is how they see us. We are one of its many
and this 3 billion we're paying back, right? It's a loan.
Oh, definitely. It's never charity. We're definitely going to pay it back. And it's going to add up to our debt stock. That is the deal. So it's a problem.
But this year I've been so disappointed. Number one was the government did. They are disappointing me in perpetuity, forever disappointment. Then it came to the parliamentarians when they actually had a chance to make a change and decided not to. And then the people ourselves, when Kumewu had the chance to tell the government, say, you know what, we like you, but we cannot stand for this nonsense, decided to stand for the nonsense.
Yes.
It's, what do you think, say, what would be the final, because they say activism in Ghana is at the peak. Everybody is on the street. We are on the internet discussing. The Ghanaian youth is very politically open-minded. What do you think, say, we can do now to actually push the paradigm to change?
Yes, I think that this activism, this media engagement, especially the impact of the new media, is predominantly felt in Accra. Outside Accra, I think there's a challenge. Because take a place like Kumasi, for instance, where people vote based on partisan, tribal, those lines, Because Kumawi elections, some of the comments I'm for making, Mea Santini party, you see that kind of comment still.
I heard that and I was very, very disappointed. Yeah,
exactly. So, in and around those areas, clearly you get an indication that political activism education is quite low. And a typical Kumasi that I know, this politics, we are interested in where people take up political issues and discuss. To over there is paused from morning to evening. And then some of the radio station. Yes, and then the radio station even trying to do politics, of course, because and some of these things, I'm for say a mistake. It's not a mistake. It's a conscious thing, something that has been strategically designed, because the idea is that the people there have already made their political choices already. So they don't need any further political explanation. The explanation will rather give them reason to question the whys. So if you take it away from them and substitute by giving them sports and other stuff, they will always be outside the political scope. And then they will just go use the usual old channels to vote. So it's a deliberate thing that has been built for them. Politics never because church and same one I'm for maybe question. And in some church and same more idea. Make a political choice that it do why a Kotoma party way we need further political exposure. So most of them are not politically exposed. So this consciousness that you see, this political awareness, they don't. Their ties to party is pure tribal affinity, relationship, and nothing. It is never about values. And for that reason, you see the government has taken them for granted. Now, I'm not make a check up say. Now, I'm make a check up this man says, I will share Ghana society region ba kwa Innocent ko bre nanka onya all that out here the Ashanti region, because that region single-handedly made Akufo-Addo president. And you know, when you have such enormity with, when you have such power now, all you need is the bargaining powers to ensure you get what you want from the government. And when you lead you now, more left from more right, they will always know how to get what you want from government. But unfortunately, it is one of the most regions that, even under this government, make me say absolutely nothing. And on Saka, you understand? Say in hospital that was started by Muhammad then, Kumawu Hospital, Kumawu Hoya Mokoto Abayi, a Shemudum, almost an hour Mokoto Abana Mokoto Door, Oko Afari military hospital. Oko military hospital, Kumawu Diana, Yavan saying Afari Diana, and as Shemudum Abesine. There are several of such facilities I can would. So you ask yourself, say, I could follow buying by ye, and Puntu Juma Ben the Ben, and why an Ashanti region, makes me generous. I say, some 2 man, I'm proud. Absolutely nothing. A true Kumo and Ajo, na ya quine. Quine, ya Fasuma who say ya quine and Ajo. Now the beauty me need to go quine, so the idea teams are that ya quine. After elections, a week after, in Sultan Corner, I draw in the court. That is the kind of people that we are. So I think that activism, we need to heighten it and take it to a different level. In as much as we might think that everybody is getting exposed to the new media. No, it's not everybody. There are people who are behind or mono. They seem not to be even interested because political decision already near make it at that. Or cultural say, or no, or me free chrome idea. At the end, I say, voter region, you may get individuals who might want to vote for the NDC. Doesn't matter whatever the reasons are. So when we reach these individuals with political education and they have that exposure, then they will find reason to vote, not attachment and affinity. And I think that would be one of the ways everything that boy.
Yeah, I think I heard that interview. Lady B said, "Oh no, like their question, she doesn't like it, but the fact that she has to vote MPP, and it was quite sad. Say she has actually chosen a political party against her own interest."
Yes.
It was quite sad, and the way she was talking, you could see that she's educated, but how they managed to brainwash that middle Ghana is terrible.
So you see, whenever tribalism and those ethnocentric thing is pushed into something, it becomes like a contest. So it's something like a tribal supremacy. So if you go and vote for the other guy, it means you're demeaning or looking down on your tribe. Yes. So it's to them, it's kind of a tribal contest for them. So for Sobatwama way there, and then Kobatwama and the Krum Nina say. But so in governance, it's a different thing altogether. It is about knowledge.
How are we such hypocrites? Say we've written in our constitution, say our political parties cannot be built on tribal lines. It is in our constitution.
Yes. Who is a politician? You cannot blame them because maybe MPP near. I want to keep Kumasi intact. the NDC near, I want to keep voter region intact. But it is up to the people. And our Monsono will try to ask questions and see the developmental patterns, how beneficial those policies are to them. Because US, there are some of the states they are for the blue, some are for this, some are for this, some are for that. Yes. But there are a significant number of people within who vote based on issues.
I live in a red state, but our governor right now is Democrat.
Exactly. So you see, at that point, people are rising above partisan exposures, and they are getting
because I know one year they are. It's 100% clear. Said next 4 years there's no question about it.
So over there,
the party,
and the reason is that over there is no tribal or racial attachment in politics. It is about
there's a little there, but I think people's interest.
Exactly.
It's first for them.
Yes, it's negligible. But the fact is that you are looking at your interest in terms of your gains. How are buying several interest. But over there, the gain is zero, and he doesn't care. It is about putting somebody from my tribe up there, making sure that I vote for them, because to me, it is a tribal contest. If I vote for the other guy, I'm imposing the other tribes
on myself.
So, and that is what is driving. So, it's very beneficial to the politician because money is sustaining the base. It doesn't matter whether or your development now or your development say that vote needed that. And when you go to those areas, development because me a politician who say my mouth still but then what will be the motivation? So
I'll send the money elsewhere.
So that is a simple explanation. So Nipan has a translation who said, say you activate a bargaining power, sir. We will lose. Because it's quite sad. Quite recently I went to Kumasi and I'm a person who trust me. Within Kumasi, I spent more than 3 to 4 hours in town before I could cross over traffic.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes.
I think they had 3 interventions planned for Kumasi to just take away traffic from the middle of the city. But I think right now, they've borrowed the money. They actually borrowed the money, but somehow the projects couldn't be done. Because
because you see all the big guys in this government, most of them are from there. The Osei Mensens, the Napos, the Wine. These are guys ordinarily they are supposed to wield a lot of power and influence. They can impress on the Akufo-Addo government to get things done there. But I don't know. In the last 10 years in our politics, I think that the biggest thing that has happened to Kumasi is hospital now. A ferry hospital now and maybe yes, and maybe a KJT market, and a smaller way. I'm not sure if anybody can mention anything significant in Kumasi. Buying the alcohol because they vote for me.
And that was to the previous government, though.
Yes, it was during Mahama and Mel's time. So I'm emphasizing the fact that they don't benefit because Nippon himself may them over to. So what is the point? Now no Swami Yamukopia, your friends saying your copia sword say a quakusi way or way. Yes, see a quakusi interchange your way. Meaning the Omuko to 2 and no, nothing is happening. Also,
I think Ashanti region there, Omwa hold is the people of Ashanti region holding their development hostage by themselves.
Oh yeah.
Because every 4 years we give you a chance to make a change, and you decide, okay, we're just going to go with this one. So yeah, I think they cannot complain to anyone.
Everybody has the right. So, be the Ashanti regional former MPP. That's fine. Or be a voter regional that's fine. But at the end of the day, ask yourself, say, is the system now to know how beneficial it is? Quite benefit for sustaining with interest. And at least ensure that people you have given power to know will go and bargain on your behalf and get things done. That is politics. Politics and your church and because me who am quiet and go pom SCC baby amame. Politics and the benefit supposed to.
You got to see it. Within 4 years, you have to see it.
Yes,
Yeah,
if you don't see
I mean, talking about Sunyani itself, I went there last meet, and it wasn't the Sunyani I was brought up in.
Oh, no. Now we try cry ni Kumasi, how much more Sunyani anyway. So development, it's sad. It's sad that we expect it at least, but be a year drew. So we had advances and the gains other countries are making. Yen to me, at least at our level, no, we should be able to be moving towards maybe a certain direction. But me give ourselves certain hope. We say, okay, even though we are moving at a slower pace, this is what we intend to achieve. But the nation has no focus. Your focus, let's say, where and when the next loan is coming from. When and where the next loan is coming from.
Just digging ourselves deeper into that.
Yes.
Okay, Ivan, I think all too soon our time is up. We still have a lot to talk about. Next Sunday, if you can get a timer, so that we can go into what we are going to lose if we get into if like all the we start putting IMF and putting it in place for them to keep us giving us the loan.
Okay, no problem. I'll make time.
It's your schedule now. So
I'll try and make time.
Ivan, thank you very, very, very much for coming. I think I did this on a very short notice, and you've been a very good friend of this show. You're here for Thursday, I want to do it on Sundays nowadays. I think that would be easier for you because Thursdays now not Japan yet. Like we have to get you at dawn, to do it.
Yeah, I remember those days we did one be very, very, very late.
Very late, very, very, very late. Yeah, I think the first one we recorded, so it wasn't that late. But the live in there was very late.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think this time
Sundays cool.
Sundays would do, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think some of our viewers say Sundays is all right. Sundays are cool, so we do it like that. It's Ivan. We will talk backstage. End the show. So, Mama, by especially Sasi Misiamaku, you've been an awesome listener and viewer today with all your comments and our usual people. All the people that have been texting me on the site. Nana Kwame and Gloria Johnson, thank you very much for coming. And Ivan, thank you so very much for coming. Next Sunday, just continue with part 2 of this one. Okay, so we end the show now.